Hi, everyone. My name is Alvaro. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Orb, and I'm very excited to be here today. Orb is essentially what billing and invoicing would look like if it got created for this day and age of more hybrid usage-based pricing models. So our bread and butter use cases are helping companies in the fintech, cloud infrastructure, and data and developer platform spaces automate all things billing and not have to invest a lot of their engineering resources into achieving this level of automation and transparency. Today, what I'd love to do is show you what it might look like to set up a business model like yours in Orb, to demonstrate how our approach lets you go from real-time events into accurate invoices. And to do that, what I'd love to do is sort of dive right into the product. This is Orb. This is the internal billing dashboard that our customers see. And it all starts with events. Events are our way of representing what's happening in your product and connecting it to your billing and pricing. And really anything can be an event. If your business model is charging based on API calls, you might be sending in a record of every API call that hits your servers. If you're charging based on monthly active users, you might want to be recording every time a user in your application starts a session. To demonstrate that, I've pulled up here an API endpoint that lets you send in events into Orb. And we have a number of ways that you can get that connection up and running and start streaming those events. It might be by directly pushing events into our API, or it might be via something like a cloud data warehouse sync via S3, where we can pull events that might be living in Snowflake or Redshift and get them into the platform. Now, when I'm talking about an event, really it's nothing more than a name and a whole bunch of tags, labels, and values that represent important dimensions that might be relevant to billing. So in our example of charging based on API calls, our event name might be API call, and we might be sending in a bunch of properties, including what endpoint this represents, and maybe information about the status of the call. And in sending it into Orb, what I'm able to do is start associating this with the rest of my pricing. So now that I see that this event has been successfully ingested, I can flip back into our dashboard over here and see that this event has made it into the platform. So what I'm going to walk you through today is how we're able to ingest those events, attribute them to customers, associate them with metrics that we can set up for billing here, and work up to connecting that all the way to sending out an accurate invoice to your customers. We like to think of Orb as a marriage between a billing product and an analytics product. The analytics piece is how we let somebody in engineering, product, or revenue interact with this real-time data set of events and connect them to pricing. And then the billing piece is how we let you model all your various different types of contract structures or plans that you offer to your customers. To set up a metric, we have this very dynamic interface that lets an operator interact and dynamically preview the data set. So back to our example of sending in API calls, I'm able to filter to events with this particular name and preview preview a sample of events that have made it into the platform. And with Orb, what I can do is set up, for example, a simple filter that only looks at API calls at a balance endpoint and set up an aggregation that might be a simple count or a sum. Again, previewing the results of my calculation interactively to make sure that I'm on the right track. We think this is pretty cool. It helps a lot of our customers get up and running. But when it comes to billing, really the devil's in the details. And some companies have value metrics that are really nuanced or sophisticated. That is why we've built all of this on top of a custom SQL platform. So if there's ever a more sophisticated way that you're tracking monthly active users or a more advanced aggregation that you need to run, you can rest assured that you can drop into the full flexibility of SQL to make that happen in Orb, given the extensibility of our platform. Now, at this stage, what we've done is we've set up one or more value metrics that we want to use in our pricing, and it's time to connect that to the actual billing plans that we offer our customers. And again, we have a very flexible way of achieving that, where in Orb, you can go in and set up a plan with any number of fixed or usage-based fees. A fixed fee might be something like a platform access fee that's charged annually, say for $100,000. And a usage-based fee is where we get to connect any of the metrics that we defined in the previous steps and connect those up to pricing. So for example, if we're charging based on API requests, this might be a simple flat rate per API call. or it might be something like a tiered model if we're offering volume discounts, or we work with some customers that have dimensional pricing models. So maybe we want to charge differently based on API call. So in Orb, we're able to very ergonomically set up kind of different endpoint rates based on information that's tagged into our events. Now, I mentioned how Orb is purpose-built for usage-based pricing models. So what comes out of the box in our product is the ability to use pricing levers such as minimum discounts or trial periods right out of the box. Now, since we're talking about pricing models for products that perhaps might be API-based and have an integration period, one thing that's common is offering a little bit of a ramp schedule where your new customer has some time to get their integration up and running before they're assessed the full setup fees that your contracts include. So we can achieve this in Orb with a feature called phases, where upfront you can programmatically stage any number of phases. So maybe there could be a 3-month onboarding process where we're charging a subset of the fees and stage that up such that you can generate and create those invoices automatically without having to make changes every single month. Now, the big so what of working with Orb is you get to turn billing from a once a month, maybe manual or batch-driven process to a real-time process where at any given point in a you have detailed visibility into what's happening with your customer. So you're able to see a real-time preview of their next invoice across each dimension that you're tracking. You're able to take a look at all the value metrics that might be important to track to your business, and ultimately work up to delivering really rich and detailed and transparent invoices so that your customers can understand exactly why they're being billed an amount that they were billed. So what that looks like here is being able to kind of send out an invoice to your customer where they receive via email and get access to a payment portal that not only shows them exactly how much they owe, but actually connects this information right back to the product usage information derived from real-time events. So this offers a lot of visibility for your customers to ultimately maintain and build up that trust, because we all know that when we are hit by a surprise bill that we weren't expecting, it's really important that we can quickly understand why to not lose trust with some of our partners and vendors. Now, I think one of the big unlocks of having this paradigm and approach of real-time events for billing is the ongoing visibility and alerting capabilities you get out of the platform. So since Orb is tracking and in an accurate way building up a detailed preview of the next invoice, what you're able to do is set up alerts at either the cost level or the usage level to let some internal folks know what's happening with the customers. So for example, maybe a customer success manager might want to know that when a customer's invoice hits $2,000, it might be a good opportunity to reach out for an upsell. Or even for an in-app logic, when a customer exceeds a certain usage threshold, you might want to display an upsell banner in product to do that. So Orb, in letting you programmatically or via our web app define alerts and thresholds, what we do is we fire a webhook alert when those thresholds are triggered and met, letting either your application run some of that business logic or letting you connect those webhook alerts to tools and applications like Zapier or Slack to drive some internal workflows. In addition, because by solving sort of this core mission critical problem of billing and invoicing, we also unlock greater flexibility to a lot of teams that surround the billing problem. One way that we've achieved this is via our integration with Salesforce, where everything that you see on this page, that of course is available programmatically via our APIs, in addition to our web dashboard, we're able to sync directly into an opportunity page in Salesforce. So imagine that you're a business that's trying out a consumption-based pricing model. It's really important that your sales reps have access to exactly what's happening in the lifestyle, in the journey of a customer, and have kind of that detailed visibility of what the historical usage patterns of a customer are. So by setting up your business model in Orb, you can set up that integration with Salesforce and get that visibility broadly across your Salesforce. In wrapping up, what I've shown you today is how Orb can go from ingesting a raw real-time event stream representing product usage and building up and connecting that to billing and pricing, so that every month you can rest assured that you are sending out accurate and detailed invoices to your customers. If you or your business is thinking about driving revenue efficiency this year or experimenting with new pricing models, please reach out. We'd love to talk to you.